improvement areas. I will not put it as flaws, improvement areas. Cool. Anything else? Others' ideas, right? Cool. Sorry? First time experience. Kudos, yeah, that's a great for a first timer to come on stage. And so it was first time for the pitching or okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Do you have more people coming in? Okay. And those who have the benefit of the time to join in for the pitching session in the second half, what are you awaiting? What is it that you're looking at? You guys have to present in the second half, right? You've, आपने तो कर दिया पीछे, okay. I think my, okay. And welcome back to the session, to the panel discussion after a short break. I hope we all had a nice tea and some food to break the fast. And with that, we move to our next segment, and especially meaningful panel, which is the power of young minds, turning climate anxiety into action. Before we dive into the discussions, I would like to introduce the panelists for the day. Mr. Rohit Sharma is the founder of Awaz Leadership Labs and law firm Reddy, a NUJS Kolkata alumnus and former Harvard LMSAI research associate. He has trained over 10,000 young people and leads initiatives on climate action, multi-species justice, leadership, including global recognition from the Thomson Reuters Foundation. Welcome, Rohit. I please welcome you on the stage. May we have a round of applause for Rohit. Next, we have Mr. Srijan Praveen Taire, who was also your jury member, is a sustainability strategist at NGMA Mumbai, Ministry of Culture, Government of India, and associated with Amlan River Corp. With a background in naval architecture and ocean engineering, he works at the intersection of environmental policy, innovation, waste management, and marine conservation to drive actionable sustainability solutions. Welcome, Praveen. Can we welcome him with a round of applause, please? We also have with us Ms. Meenu Chandok. She is the head of department at Jaipuria School with over 24 years of experience in education. A cost and works accountant, she is also a CBSE resource person and a certified trainer. She has led high-performing academic teams, authored a widely used grade 12 business studies textbook, and contributes actively to teacher training, design thinking, and CSR initiatives. For 14 years, she has headed the school's community outreach program, partnering with NGOs including Goonj, HelpAge India, Go Sharpener, Pardada Pardadi Foundation, and Rotary initiatives. Welcome, Ms. Chandok. And finally, we have Ms. Shubhi Goyal, who is a climate finance expert and sustainability consultant with over 6 years of experience in climate finance, carbon accounting, CBAM, and industrial decarbonization. She is also the founder and CEO of Parijat Earth Foundation. She works with MSMEs, manufacturers, and financial institutions while actively engaging with youth in climate action. Welcome, Shubhi. And I, Priyanka Das, will be the moderator for the session today. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at STEP, and welcome you all again to the panel. So I'll start with a very common question across the board. I would like to really understand, when was the first time in this lived experience on Earth that climate change really took your attention? And then what was the first action that you overtook to, probably resolve it at your own end? So if I were to give an example, I will go in the reverse order. So what I picked up as one of the first action items, and which I still continue doing. Earlier, I used to do it without much knowledge, subconsciously, but now I do it as a learned experience. As a youngster, I remember going to every room, and if there's any light on, water is flowing, anything, I used to go and switch it off without knowing what does it mean. I was like, why to waste anything? So that inherent thing about wasting anything, water, etc., still is ingrained now. But now I do it with purpose. So even probably if I am one of the last person to leave the hall today, I will probably go and look for the switches and switch it off. But the realization that climate action is actually something real, and it is an urgent issue, and we need to face it head on, is something very recent. The conscious effort came very recently. So I have been born and brought up in Jamshedpur, which is the steel city of India. Very quaint, nice place, a lot of greenery. And I remember in my growing years, the puja's time, because it is in the eastern part of India, October, November, late October, November, December, when it used to really start getting cold. So we used to be in our green blazers, sweaters, socks, and everything. Very late in life, after graduating, once in a while, when I used to visit the hometown in the winters, I realized suddenly in the Diwalis, etc., I do not need those heavy garments to don on myself. I was very happy, just going in a nice salwar kurta, jewelry, etc. But later I realized what's happened to the winters, and that's when the climate action took an attention. There's something really wrong that's happening, and that has happened in the 15 years over time. So that is my experience. I open up from probably Rohit, and we'll go this way.
Thank you. Just wanted to check, everyone is connected with Hindi also in this room? Yes. Okay, so I'll then speak in English, our official language. So I think I was born and brought up in Gwalior, and when I went to Calcutta, I studied my law from Calcutta, and one of the biggest flex I used to give to my seniors was that I'm coming from a city which is the second most polluted city in the world. Gwalior ka identity, I used to say that. But on a more serious note, I used to think कि climate बहुत ही elite issue है, honestly. मुझे लगता था कि ऐसा देश जहाँ पे बेसिक खाना और जॉब और सोशल सिक्योरिटी इंटाइटलमेंट्स नहीं है, तो क्लाइमेट एक बहुत ही दूसरे लोगों का इशू है, और आई थिंक वो बस हम लोगों को बताया जा रहा है. बट देन आई रियलाइज़ कि क्लाइमेट ग्रेजुअली मैंने रियलाइज़ कि हर बार गर्मी और गर्म होती जा रही है, हर बार सर्दियाँ और ठंड बढ़ती जा रही है. तो एक चीज़ जो रियलाइज़ वो ये थी कि क्लाइमेट शायद हर चीज़ को इम्पैक्ट करता है. मतलब बेसिकली अगर जेंडर इक्विटी सोसाइटी में तो उसको और ज़्यादा परपेचुएट कर रहा है, अगर वो फार्मर इश्यूज़ हैं तो उसको और ज़्यादा परपेचुएट कर रहा है. तो मुझे फिर एक चीज़ रियलाइज़ वो ये थी कि हम लोग है ना उसको एक अलग लेंस से देखते हैं, बट वो हर जगह एग्जिस्ट करता है. इवन द फैक्ट दैट कि हिमाचल में भी रिसेंटली बहुत टाइम बाद इतना बड़ा ब्रेक हुआ कि बर्फ़ नहीं गिरी, which was insane thing, and something as basic as which we took for granted. For example, when I grew up, it was so easy to see the stars, it was so easy to listen to the birds, and we took them for granted. And suddenly when we are in like metro cities and big cities, you just don't hear those birds anymore, you just don't see any like so many species anymore, right? और तो मुझे एक चीज़ अभी ग्रेजुअली रियलाइज़ हो रही है कि सोसाइटी में पिछले कुछ सालों में I've observed a shift जहाँ पे like everything is very human and like tech and AI centered, and everything is to be consumed. हर चीज़ कंज्यूमेबल है अब ह्यूमंस के लिए. और को एग्जिस्टेंस का जो आइडिया है कि जहाँ पे सारी स्पीशीज साथ में रहते हैं, वो आइडियाज़ धीरे धीरे थोड़ा कम होता जाने लगा है. और अब हम लोग हर चीज़ ह्यूमन के लेंस से डिज़ाइन कर रहे हैं, विच इज़ लाइक वेयर ह्यूमन इज अ सेंटर. सो वन क्वेश्चन विच आई एम होल्डिंग इज ऑल्सो दैट हाउ टू इमेजिन आर अ वर्ल्ड which is putting Earth at the center, where like all species hold power. So that has been my experience so far. Thank you.
Thank you. Shubhi.
Yeah, I think very great example.
एक साथ बजा लेना end में.
All right. So first of all, really honored to be here. Thank you, Unpollute, for having us here. And I can see a lot of children joining us today. I hope your exams are not ongoing. If yes, please do study well, and all the best for the same. Coming up with my example, first of all, it did not start from any classroom, but since the childhood itself, I was always the climate conscious person. And बचपन से मुझे बोला जाता था कि अकेले तो तुम क्या ही कर लोगी. So if I used to tell my parents कि लाइट बंद कर देते हैं, उस रूम में ज़रूरत नहीं है, they were like कि रोशनी रहनी चाहिए. Until they actually find out that no, it's important. We should not actually be someone who is just switching on light for the roshni that they need in their own home. And while going ahead, I can see those change happening within the family also. When it can start from our own family, why not to cater that to the next generations as well? So going ahead, the first experience I had was in 2017. I did my project being a field expert in Todapur village. It's from Delhi itself. And the main course of project was to spread awareness about why sanitary napkins is equally important for you to take care of your health, specifically for the women sitting here, and that is from the village that should come along. That time I didn't realize that health is major concern, but what I came to learn from that activity was that the sanitary napkins that I was using since my childhood, or say 8th standard, they were yet not decomposed, and it will not get decomposed until 500 or 800 years. So even if I die, my napkins still stay there. That was the worst part I learned that particular activity or the field visit I had. And I got to know that instead of just switching from one tool to another, the most important thing comes here is as awareness. I wasn't aware. I think most of us are still not aware about this particular thing, that the napkins are made up of plastics or the materials that cannot be decomposed at all. And it is actually not just impacting our health, leading to a lot of health related issues, but also the environmental impacts that we are creating. And I think since then, I thought that we should start working on certain important aspects. I was on a break to prepare myself for doing economics honors from Delhi School of Economics. I think almost all of you have heard about the college, but I left that and chose to be in Terry. And I wanted to pursue something related to environment, so that with the awareness I need, I can curate that in the upcoming days as well. So here I just want to let you know, take one thing at one time, but ensure that you know whatever you are using and utilizing in your daily activities also. Be it brushing your teeth from a toothbrush which is made up of plastic, or the smaller activities we do. And I think individually also we can create a lot of impact in the environment. So that was my experience. Over to you, Sajjan.
Thank you, Unpollute, and thank you everyone for coming here and listening to us. So my name is Srijan Praveen Taide, and I'm a 27-year young entrepreneur and also working as a sustainability strategist with the National Gallery of Modern Art, which is a World Heritage Site under the Ministry of Culture, Government of India. And my first exposure towards sustainability and waste management was not out of any moral background or thinking that we should save electricity, save water, something like that. But due to my studies into naval architecture and ocean engineering, we were taught how to build ships, submarines, offshore structures, aircraft carriers, which are almost like a floating city. And when we talk about floating cities, like how our municipal corporation operates, we also do have standard operating procedures which happen on aircraft carriers and submarines. And due to which I thought and I saw that when the spaces are very limited, we operated on a very high level of waste management efficiency when talking about marine infrastructures. And from there, I thought that when floating cities kind of infrastructure can have such great efficient waste management, why not as cities we are able to implement this the same? And through that knowledge, I thought, why not create a small boat which will be able to collect floating waste from the water bodies that we see around ourselves. And through that line of studies and education in that field, I designed this boat which will now be deployed for river cleanups and efficient waste management. So that's my background, and I hope to share more. Thank you.
Thank you, Srijan. Ms. Meenu.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you, Renu Shah and Priyanka Das, for allowing me to come here and be part of such eminent, entrepreneurs and climate change enthusiasts. It's such a privilege to be a part of all of you students who've created such apps. At least that thinking tank has started towards environment protection. I'm basically an empathetic person, I would say that. And when I was young, I was always concerned about so much of plastic and so much of environment pollution, because I have been born and brought up in Delhi. So I was used to DTC buses and a lot of pollution. And I used to feel, why do people go and live in, those areas like hills? I like people, I like hustle all the time. So, but eventually as I grew older, and now I'm in Ghaziabad, the AQI of Ghaziabad, it's the highest.
Preposterous.
And yes, it's suffocating sometimes. So this feeling of climate change grew. It was not there when I was very young. And fortunately, when I joined Jaipuria, I'm the head of the community outreach program, Seth Anandram Jaipuria School. And fortunately, I think God wanted me to be associated with something like this. So I was the head of the community outreach program, wherein we associated ourselves with various NGOs over these last 14 years, Goonj, Helpage India, Pardada Pardadi, and CRY. So we were doing small activities, projects, creating awareness, empathy among students. But now, as I got associated, and before coming to this place, I really read a lot about climate change and about what everyone is doing. So I gave about 4-5 days, 1 week, I was only reading, going through, making my notes. What is climate change? What is carbon accounting? What is carbon tax? I didn't know about it. Being an accounts person, I didn't know what is carbon tax. So it really enlightened me. I'm being very honest to you. And I realized that I read a lot about it's basically not about doing activities. We need to understand the impact. And how, a lot of tree plantation, every year, we're doing a lot of activities with Rotaries. We've been getting awards for the best school, for, a lot of activities being done. But we fail to find out the impact. And also, whether we planted the trees, how many were surviving. So the impact on the environment, and once I leave or when the students graduate, the projects were not carried out by the next batches. So I realized that institutions, institutional documentation always outlives the graduating batches. So I realized we've been doing documentation, but not in figures. There are no percentages, no data metrics which you can measure that last year we did this is how the environment was protected, or this was the impact on the, the pollution control of the tree plantation in a particular area, and now it is like that. So we did no comparison. So I realized it's so important that data, evidence, and impact. So I'll definitely implement it with the support of Unpollute and all these young enthusiasts who are there. So really excited to be a part of all of you. And I really appreciate the apps that you've tried to create. It's wonderful. And with the help of all the people who have been into this for the last good 15, 20 years, you must develop in a way that they can be implemented. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rohit, Shubhi, Srijan, and Meenu. We've heard such nuanced approach that each one of us, either due to moral obligation or not, we've taken towards the step towards climate action. On that note, Shubhi, I come to you to understand, you are a youth entrepreneur also yourself, but also you are, you're a CBAM certified person, ISO certified person into accounting, very technical terms. So honestly, I might not be the best person to even understand what all of these studies entail. But my question to you is, how do you bridge that gap between this technical stuff and actual climate action? So what advice do you have for the young minds over here that they need not be an expert first, they need not need a certificate or degree. What is it that they can do, like right now, to change those ideas, or like we convert their anxiety or fear into actual measurable, impactful action?
All right, very important question. And I think all the jargons that you just mentioned, the difficult terms to be remembered, like CBAM, it itself is your carbon border adjustment mechanism, greenhouse gas accounting, as ma'am you mentioned, or why it is not just accounting. Because if all the institutes, corporates, or maybe even the schools are doing general accounting of their financials, how it is difficult to tell that how much trees they are planting, or how much it is difficult to tell that what are the waste that they are generating. As I'm actually speaking, it's as easy to do, but the major gap that we see on grounds is the data gap. And being student or being non-expert, I would say, even if you don't know what is greenhouse gases, how to account them, before knowing all of these terms, you should know what is the data that you have within your college, within the level of corporate world as well. So what we need at the actual consulting level also is, I think sir is also here and he is working he has actually been a very crucial person working from Montreal Protocol and changing the actual cooling aspect in our ACs or refrigerants that we were using to save the ozone depletion. And I think we all know what is ozone layer and how it was depleting and what were the critical steps we did to actually save the same. Similarly, just not awareness is important, but collecting the data on ground is important, and that can be done without the technical expertise we need. How? All the projects I work on, we need a person who can be on ground and collect the basic data of, say for example, electricity bills. That can be collected easily, you all can do it, right? Say yes or no. Yeah? You can also know what are the ways that a particular organization is generating or your college is generating, yes? So these are the very basic things that can be done even by the students like you who do not know what is greenhouse gases. So I'm not saying do not get aware, be aware, know what it is and why you are collecting the data, but do not get afraid of doing it just because you are not an expert. Because consultants also look forward to interns or the students who can go on ground and collect these data, which is required to do the greenhouse gas accounting, and that is step 2. So all the tools you were talking about, the AI mechanism we talked, the applications that you want to build up, that is very much required in real ground problems also. So do not know what is CBAM or greenhouse gases, but know how you go talk to the people and tell them to collect the data and try to make them in a particular dashboard level. Because in the schools also we learn to run the computer and how to create a basic data into a report. That is what we have been learning in the school level itself. So as I've mentioned or you mentioned, that being an expert is not an important tool here, but knowing and working towards a basic data collection can also lead you to become an expert in the similar platforms. So I think if you are interested, join us.
That's a good call for action. But thanks, Shubhi. Data evidence is the foundation of, just making those, strategizing and making those impactful changes. On that note, Rohit, I also my question is next to you as well. Again, technical term, multi-species justice, I do not understand what that is. So treat me and the others also over here. If you were to explain it to a 19-year or a 20-year-old young person, what is it? And if anyone wants to contribute to that concept, how he or she should move ahead?
All those who are using their phones, I just want to ask everyone in the room, how much time does it take for you to zone out and check your phones? Generally. 30 seconds? Be honest. roughly, right? So I think in last few decades or maybe years, one of the things which has shifted on a cultural level is we have become a society of distraction, right? And that society of distraction largely has come because most of the time we are not connected with people around us. We are most of the time on our phones, a lot of especially young people, which means that we are spending more and more time being isolated. And that isolation is designed by big tech companies so that they can sell us more products, right? And I think that disconnection is also being built because we are not spending time with ourselves, right? Our natural tendency as humans is to share story, is to being part of a larger community bigger than ourselves, to do art, to have fun, to have joy, right? And that entire methodology has been shifted where our classrooms are not designed as per Gen Z's experience. Our work, we don't know what to do. We are constantly thinking what I can do, right? So there is a perpetual sense of helplessness that world is falling apart. Political leaders are doing some random announcement every day, right? We are not getting better roads. So I think one of the things which we realized was that people need time with themselves. That is one thing which we realized, that our disconnection with our own self causes a larger climate crisis also, right? Because when you are seeing your own emotions as something to be consumed, then you will have a consumerist tendency, like how frequently we order on Instamart, right? We never think about the cost that we can just take a walk. It will help our health also. We can take a walk, but we are constantly dependent on technology, right? And when I was doing this work, one of the things which we wanted to realize is because we don't see ourselves as whole individual, because we are not addressing our own emotions, our struggles, there is a very good possibility that we are also not seeing other creatures, right? So one of the things which we do as part of multi-species, human is one species, multi-species means river is also a species, algae is also a species, mushroom is also a species, right? So then we try to find that once we establish there are many species at place in earth, and earth is not just home to humans, then we try to imagine what makes us all connected, like especially on a human level. And it's also the perspective which we want to build in young people. And we do that with music. We do rap sessions. We do a poetry session called Love in the Time of Climate Change. So we are trying to find what are the interactive things which truly makes us human. And the problem, the crisis is not just of solutions are not being made. The crisis is also of perspective of people, and people just feel very lonely in general on a societal level, right? So what we are doing with multi-species is that we are trying to nudge students to reimagine how our world is designed for humans by humans. And how will we reimagine that world where every species is able to get justice. So that is sort of an approach we are doing. We use music, rap, poetry, and the core of everything is how we can tell our young people and students to connect with themselves first. And this has all been, and you mentioned that 15 years, this term climate change and global warming has been normalized. We are far past that stage. We are not at global warming. We are at global boiling stage now. And Gandhi and Tagore, all of them mentioned 150 years back that this is going to happen because people were increasingly not connected with themselves. So one of the things which we want to activate is how people can see themselves also as whole, so that they can see Earth also as a whole.
That is so wonderful, Rohit. I'm sure many of the students present over here might want to connect with you a little later, because the moment you said rap and music, I think that was the buzzword for them to get attracted. But more on a serious note, I believe if you want to connect with any of the panelists after the session, please feel free to utilize the whole day to understand, connect, and network, and probably use those takeaways as actionable action items as well. Shrijan, my next question is to you. You are very heavily invested, a young mind, young entrepreneur on river waste. Well, probably Delhi, NCR, we are a landlocked place. Still, there are water bodies around, and there undeniably is a lot of waste around in water as well. Leave the landfills in the water bodies are not spared. Again, from a very basic youth perspective, what is it that they can do at their level to be a part of this movement, like be a part of the community? How can they derive those actions, make that dream turn aspirations I would rather put it turning the aspirations into dream, into then action, real world action.
Well, like I mentioned, I approach things with a very practical and logical mindset. Aspirations in terms of whether if you want to make career into it, what I thought was that I can build a solution which is required by the governments, which is required by the general public. So I saw the feasibility and the viability of the work that I'm doing. The board that I'm making is crucially useful for the municipal corporations, for the large corporates, for public, and thus it gave me confidence that my solution, my work will not, if not today, maybe tomorrow, will get implemented. And in those lines, if you can think that your work is something which is contributing to a larger need, your immediate work is catering to a very specific problem, I think diving right into it and making small efforts could translate into a very big butterfly effect. And I am the living proof of it. I never thought I will be sitting here, but I am now, because the small actions were compounded over a longer period of time. And through those continuous efforts, the path keeps on opening up. And I would say that was the driver of the entire initiative, that small efforts which look insignificant over a period of time gets compounded, and that compounded effect is something which brings a lot of impact. So yeah, that's...
I will, I mean, that's a great response, the compounded effect of, and we have Shubhi over here who's also, does accounting, so she'll probably shed more light on it. But I also wanted to understand, there are different roles. There's a community organizers, there are policy advocates, there are storytellers, there are data collectors. What I wanted to understand was what moves the needle amongst this? Any thoughts from your lived experiences?
So what I thought was, being a naval architect, my interests were making live prototypes, working models, like putting them through different case scenarios and working towards how effective the solutions are. And in those lines, when you come up with some kind of a tangible innovation or creativity or some solution, you get exposure and experience in terms of adoption and like incentivizing people who you can use your solution. So in terms of creating that cascading effect, that what you are starting today gets converted tomorrow into something big and a material reality, I would say creating something which will be perceivable by people is what moves the needle and like starts your journey.
Perfect. Thanks, Srijan. And on that note, Meenu, I would certainly want to ask you, we've talked a lot about data collection, we've talked about metrics and impact. Those seem to be very scientific terms, scholarly terms, that you need to know a certain way of doing research, what is the sample size, what are the metrics behind it. But what is in it for the commerce and the other students who might bring a different lens in addition to the scientific lens to it? Like right now we were just discussing that data and evidence helps informed decisions, and there is a scientific way of doing it. But then we also have a very large crowd who might be interested into other thematic areas and tracks. And so in your experience, what is it that the students of the community and who may not be interested in science as a track are able to contribute to this? How can they contribute to this?
Well, I am an accountancy and a business studies teacher. And I've been taking, because I've done my MPhil, so I worked with management institutes also. And for a short stint of 3 years, I taught management graduates and also engineering students. I taught them operations research. So, and at the school level, the complete books that you have in MBA, we introduce just the terminology like operations research. So I would suggest that all the students of business studies, though CBSE has also started various projects which we are incorporating in our curriculum, like development of product. So when they are developing a product, ensure that the product is, again, environmental friendly. It takes care of pollution, the climate change. But while developing a product, right now what is happening is primarily it's a little theoretical. Like you're developing a product, and maybe your engineering students also, you develop the app. Now what you need to do is that you need to collaborate with these NGOs who are actually bringing the change. So they can help you a product which is applicable, right? And they can help you design the product in such a manner that you can actually make it a sustainable project in the future as you pass out from your graduate colleges. Coming down to accountancy, again, beyond the text, you can also implement projects like in our CBSE 11th and 12th grade. We have a comprehensive project in grade 11th where we ask the students to prepare, conceive a business idea, a storyline, and from there start developing journal entries. Then prepare your ledger accounts, those who have a little idea about accountancy, and then prepare the financial statements. This is in grade 11th. So when you're doing it, why not do it with these organizations? Pick up their financial statements, pick up their storyline, develop the entries which the transaction that they did over a period of, say, good 5, 6, 10 years, convert them into journal, prepare their ledgers, prepare their trial balance, and then discuss with them, prepare the financial statements. And the same project you carry out to your grade 12th, wherein you need to take up the financial statements of any company, especially the financial statements of the last 1 or 2 years, not before that. And then you do the analysis through various tools such as ratio analysis, cash flow statement. So here you help the NGOs and the companies also who are into sustainable projects to analyze their financial statements through tools, which maybe they are not that much aware, the science students. They create the idea. The science students create the idea, and the commerce students can all help them in the management of the idea, the marketing of the complete product. So instead of just doing it theoretically in silos in the school, wherein the teacher just takes your project and checks it whether you've done it theoretically, make it actually a live project, wherein you are engaged with the NGO from grade 11th and take it to grade 12th, do the ratio analysis, prepare the cash flow statement, understand the cash flows, what are the nuances, where they can improve. The interpretation of the ratios you will understand better when you will sit with them. So this is how you can incorporate, and especially those college students, if you're doing MBA, you're doing your BBA, your BTech, physics, chemistry, science, conceive the idea, collaborate. It's again, interdisciplinary approach that you can adopt. Collaborate with the management students and then develop your projects, and vice versa. Let the students who are not management students, who are not that tech friendly, confident, so they can collaborate with the IT students, and then you can ensure that with these NGOs you get a experience of what is happening practically in the real life, so that you don't only develop understanding of the project work, your content, its applicability, but also become empathetic towards the issue, and you take it head on as you proceed with your careers.
Thank you so much, Ms. Minu. I guess that was such a beautiful way of sewing in the idea that whatever 10th and 12th, 11th, 12th class students are doing is probably applicable even to college students and probably to even the corporates as well, that they should take up projects and probably look at the financial statements that can then be useful, and then they can build a project on it and actually see the ground impact of the same. So that's such a brilliant way of looking at it.
One more thing, Priyanka, I'd like to add is, as internships that you have, you need to work with interns. You need to work as interns with such NGOs, and also ensure that whatever you study, you apply that part while working with these NGOs. So you need to be a little more proactive, alert with what is happening, and whatever you studied, understand it and apply it.
Thank you so much, Minu. As we move towards the last leg of the conversation, I quickly request 30 seconds to 1 minute answer responses to this last question, where we are moving from, say, short-term actions and near-sighted examples to what will convert into long-term impact. And on that note, Rohit, what I wanted to ask you is, you've worked with 10,000 students already. So from that experience, what is that one thing? Probably I would ask Shubhi, you also the same question, that what are those characteristics that lead to the burnout of the young people, and what they can do to actually avoid it and to ensure that the project that they've picked up ensues into a long-term impact. So Rohit first. Okay, I'll leave it to both of you.
It's so funny that when I used to be in audience, I used to think that I can talk and I can use phone and the panelist won't get it, but now I'm on the other side, I can see everything. So it's very funny to me. I think I think for young people, one of the first thing we have to do is to design things which are cool for them, like as simple as that. Like if you are doing the boring lecture-based format, if you are doing same thing where like one person is coming and speaking for 1 hour and people are zoned out in like 2 minutes, then you are not designing for anything. One of the first thing we need to understand is how people can share their own ideas. So I think one of the first thing which all of you can do in your college, if you want to organize an event, design an event where every participant is able to express what they feel about things. Because everyone wants to feel heard and listened to, right? And every knowledge is important. So one of the things is which we do is we hierarchize some people's opinion in a classroom. But how to design those spaces where every knowledge is important, where if someone is coming from village, someone is coming from town or bigger cities, how all of the perspectives can come together. Design a session in that way. Second, research on basic things. Basic thing could be, what are the birds in Delhi NCR? What is their current status? How many rivers were there in Delhi, right? What's the history of this clothing which I am wearing right now? What's the history of the badges which I am wearing right now? What's the history of plastic, right? Some of the things which you also have to build is of curiosity, and just think about what you are gaining out of social media also, right? Think about it, like what are the net sum you are gaining out of social media, and what is the large term cost you are imposing on yourself with that attention span also. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. It can be utilized for public campaigns, for designing, for doing climate audit, for doing public parks audit. So there are many organizations which are doing, and I can talk more about some of these things after the session also. So just quickly want to summarize that.
Thank you. So I think ma'am already mentioned, do as much internships as possible, because you don't know what actually makes you to the actual results you want to create. I am also an economics student. Don't know what is the technical terms we have been into. For example, how a biogas plant has come into picture, yet supporting them, helping them generate finance out of it. So being a management student as well, or an economics student also, you can still help towards the actual impact needs to be created. The only thing here is that do not just focus on your passion, but also try to create your profession throughout the same. Everyone says that passion actually leads to a lot of things, but that can only lead when you start working on the same. So I had a passion to do something related to environment. Then only I did my master's into the same and did lot of internships possible, be it free, paid, or whatever learnings that I could drive. Until today, I work for a lot of such unpaid jobs that helps me learn things like he mentioned, how many species are there, what is mangrove, why it can actually support us. So no matter how layman a term could be, but that can actually give you an impact in real terms. Again, won't stretch it up, but do as practical options as possible. Being here and presenting is also one of a practicality you brought up. Do not scared of the questions we ask. These are just to help you that how you can work on the model that you are already presenting. And that can also be done in practical terms through the situations or the challenges we are already facing. So takeaways are more important rather than failing or winning those situations.
Thank you,
So that
Shubhi.
is the impact I want to have.
Brilliant. Srijan and Ms. Meenu, within 40 seconds, quick question to both of you. For Srijan, I have a very different question. Your career arc has been a little different. You know, you are a naval engineer and then you moved into building solutions for river waste management. What advice do you have, like 1 or 2 key advice for the students over here who want to get into climate action and also maintain financial stability at the same time?
That's a very tricky question, and I would say that I was more interested on the hero aspect of the work that we are doing, that is saving the planet. The more we see that the governments are not working properly, there are no infrastructures available which can solve this problem. And when I saw this problem that government se to nahi ho raha, so अब कौन करेगा? And that question was something which I thought ki why not me? We always ask or crib about where will the solution come from. And through my lens, what I say is that I will build the solution myself. And through that motivation or line of thinking, I thought that doing something of your own, which you have the control of, that how do you want to grow it ahead, take it ahead, would be something which would be giving you autonomy. And through that autonomy, a lot of creativity can happen, which I saw and experienced with myself, that I became extremely creative and innovative because I had no control over me on what work I do, when I do, and how I do. So due to that open space and no no commitments in order to be delivered for any conventional job, I thought getting this breathing space is something which can help me and the planet.
Thanks, Srijan. I think autonomy is the key takeaway over here. Ms. Meenu, again, very briefly, want to understand what is the institutional support required so that students are able to then move towards a journey into sustainable climate action? Is it funding? Is it government support? Anything from, like, 2 key features from your perspective which is required?
Well, the 2 key features would be the structured institutional support with seed funding, and also second is collaboration with various NGOs with sustainable reporting and documentation.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, the panelists over here. And you'll have to really excuse me, I'm really hard pressed on time over here because we are formally opening Unpollute Conclave in the next room in Jacaranda, where we want all of us to be a part of it. But before I close, the key takeaways, at least for me, here was definitely collaborations is what I'm hearing a lot. So collaborations could be between the interns and the organizations, collaboration between the institutional support, collaboration amongst the students itself, where they probably also, Rohit, what you have mentioned, beautiful, is about disconnecting but also connecting within yourself so that you're able to then consider yourself a part of the system. So as you say in Hindi, you know, पहले खुद की समझ सुविधा and then बाकी समाज सेवा. So thank you so much, panelists. As we end on this beautiful note, I won't let you leave like this. For that, I request my team member Ritu to please come on stage and felicitate the judges and the panelists. Students, we do not have a chance for the Q&A round over here. But what we can do is, after we move from here to the Jacaranda room, there will, and once the session starts, after that you'll have a lot of time and open house session where you can connect with the panelists over here, the esteemed members, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to take your questions. Thank you. Shrijan. I now invite Sankalp to please come on stage and felicitate the panelists. Thank you. Sankalp is from Awaz Leadership Labs as well. And he's helped us co-organize, he and his organization, this pitching contest, the Student Ideathon, and today's session. Thank you so much, Sankalp. Ms. Shubhi, go ahead, please. Please stay on stage, Sankalp, to also felicitate your colleague, Rohit. Thank you so much again, amazing panelists over here. And I apologize again for pressing hard on time. But on this note, I request all of you to move to Jacaranda, where we are formally opening up the Unpollute Conclave. The next round of student pitches start at 12 p.m. So I request you to be seated back in this room by 11:45. And when you're moving out of Jacaranda, there will be a panel discussion which is going on. So do respect the panelists over there and quietly make your exit from the room. So let's move to Jacaranda. Thank you once again for being such a great audience, and thank you once again for the esteemed panel members. Thank you once again.